and
Mm.
try to follow that mockup, and that's really helpful to read the code and try
Very
to.
good. Yeah, no. So what Ian's saying is that he has a mock-up, right? And it's fantastic that Ian basically go through the design phase first. Like mock-up, maybe you use Sketch, or maybe you download some templates online to know what it looks like. Maybe from Dribble, a design source, or just from some Bootstrap template website. Here's the thing, right? When you start trying to customize the nav to make the Bootstrap navbar look like another mockup navbar, if they don't look similar, or then if you want to customize but you spend like an hour customizing and it's not what you want, stop using Bootstrap class name. So don't call it navbar. This basically, this is what Bootstrap is doing, and that's why Bootstrap is both beautiful at the same time. It just say, hey, this is nav, and then navbar default. They have this navbar class, so you don't have to really. Once you start fighting with it, this just means it's like any other diff, or you can call it diff or anything. It doesn't care. But if you start fighting with it, use something else. You can even use another CSS framework if you like.
Just what happens in the real world is when you're a developer, you receive some mockup, right?
In the real world, yes, it's better to choose one CSS framework because um, the naming convention in the CSS framework is more useful. You choose one that someone already decide the rules. Then you don't have to come up with your own rules. For example, with Bootstrap, you design this rule. If you do .btn, it will set up the button to look the Bootstrap way. And then if you style it, button secondary, it means it's the white button. Button primary is the main color of the app, which is the blue color, which is really ugly. And then anything else like button secondary, what's that? And then the rest is like danger, warning. But you see, they come up with a convention that's really easy to think. Next time you do alert, if I just do this, I have a regular alert, but it's always only the basic. That's not enough. I normally want to do alert and then primary, right? Alert. I don't know if you have alert primary, do you? Here will be success alert. What's that? Info. This is like a success is like a green color, which is success. Info is like this light blue color, and then alert, warning, something like that. It's very similar, dangerous stuff. And then you start this naming convention means when you start working, you don't think about it very much. You can have like any paragraph, and you can say text primary. It means like, oh, it's using this color. Text muted, which is like using the gray color, but it speaks. The class name help. So this help with the logic structure of the code, and when you design, you only have to define rules for these class names. So your question is, what happens when you work with, make Bootstrap look like the framework that the mockup that you're using? You just overwrite something like in Bootstrap. You can overwrite the variable as CSS file, and you can import that. Let's say in your home.css here, in your home.scss, you just import, here's your application.css, for example. You import variables, because you import that first and then you import Bootstrap, it will allow you to customize it. Bootstrap will now use the color you want, maybe the border radius you want, and SCSS allow you to define variable, function. But this takes time and skills, right? I have no problem going in here and tweak it. That normally was something I would do. But then even sometimes I may find that it's too much to customize. Forget it. I'm not gonna go struggle and fight with it. But if you're new to web development, please don't take this on yourself. Why? Why hurt yourself? Like name create another variable, this class name, use something else. Define your own, what you like. Oh, great, just import, you know what? I don't need to customize variable. I'm just gonna, just my own navbar, all right? And then I have this my navbar file. Then you just define your own navbar, which is, you can name it, sexier. I don't know what class name you want, but here this will be like, oh, I have a navbar, maybe I call it navbar, right? Sexier, and then later on, then you just write this class yourself. Navbar, sexier, these two class name, and implement it yourself. Sometimes you want to make it class like navbar, the dark version or the light version. Feel free. Choose the least amount of work to make things work for you. Don't try to be smart, clever, and just end up spending more time learning. We're learning by doing, but please focus on doing. So, web is that. Focus on doing. Please, like, if you can show me that it works, I really don't care what's underneath. And if you ask me, please look at what I have underneath. Say why? Because I want to learn. Then we take a look, but it has to work first. If it doesn't work, I really don't care because you're going nowhere. It's like you're cooking, right? But it cannot be eaten. So that's not what I want. You're cooking first. It has to be able to feed you so that the next day you can cook better, right? Does that answer your question about customizing? Who's the one who asked me the star rating? Fu, for example, right? Here's another example that I understand. Trust me, I have been there myself. Oh, it will be so much cleaner if I can find a plugin that just show me the 1 star, 2 star. If only it would be so nice to do that. Yeah, sure. But if I ask you to do it yourself, can you do it? So, for example, if I have food item, it's an object, and if I maybe star count, this will return me an integer, like between 1 and 5. How hard is it to display a star? Easy. Find a star image on the internet, image tag star.png, and you have 1 star, right? And then you're like, okay, I will just need to display 3 stars. Okay, food item dot stars dot each do. Oh wait, this is a number, so star count dot times do, and I just print this. I just get 3 stars. How hard is that? So this display you, let's see if I have a star here, like this, right? Now this will display you 3 stars. That's a div for you. And you can style it however you want, really. You can put this in here, div, star rating. And you can make this star rating just float to the right. You can change the size. I don't care, right? You can even name this image. This is your star, right? So you can call it each star or something. So in this case, you can make this star as big as you want. Because in your CSS, you can just do class star, and here will be width 64 pixel, height 64 pixel, then this star will become bigger. This is only 16, right? 32. So if you want to make it bigger, and it will be bigger. It will be like, yeah, it's just scale. So do it yourself. Even if you want oh no, but I want this to be an empty star too. Is it an empty star? Let me just see. Let's say, this is an empty star. I have I have here, right? That's 5 star. And you want to click on this, the 5th one, and then it will rate the 5th one. I'm confident you can do it too. Just make clicking on it, just put a link on it. When you click on it, it pass a params that say 5. How hard is that? I will basically, if you sort of just play along with it, it's like 5 stars. Okay, actually I'll just do it for you. So let's say 5 times 5 star, right? Do. Right? here in each case is a link. So then you like, you know, let's say if I want to display like this 5 times, I will display either this big star, it's empty star, or a filled star. So 5 times, so this here I need an index, right? That is like between 0 and 4. And then you can do if index plus 1, that is like, you know, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, right? Less than or equal food item dot stars count. In this case, if yes, then you display this image, right? If not, I will want to display a star empty image. You see, at this point, this week, I can start writing Ruby, ERB code, Rails code. I don't even have to run it. You don't even have to type it yourself. I expect you to understand and stop me if you have any question. So in this case, if I write something like this, are we able to sort of understand what it does? This is how you display 5 star. The first 3 stars is this one, and the next one is an empty star, right? But then you're like, I want, if the user click on it, it submit. No problem, turn it into a link, right? Link to do, then that is the link. But you're like, okay, I want to click on either the first or the second one, then put link to outside. Here, outside this if else, but link to. Remember, link to if you do a block, right? So for example, I call this update star path. That's a Rails helper. Okay, please ask if you want me to clarify. But does it make sense that this is the links text and this is the A-ish ref? Now I need to update star path. It means I have to pass in the star count, right? So you can call it however, count is index plus 1 or something. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you're not sure of this code, you can go back and start typing that, look at the view code, go look at HTML. Always do really little things so we can check ourselves. Now if you have this update star path, for example, if in your route, you have, you know, let's say you can create a stars controller or anything, but, you know, get, right? You can have, you know, update star, so that's update star path, no problem. Maybe you want this to be more like star update, right? Or rating update, right? If you want the route to be like this, then you probably have it, the default is rating update path, okay? And inside this controller, for example, you have params, what? What params do you have?
Count.
For example, that's params count. And then you like, okay, but not enough. I need a food item, right? So you can pass in the food item. You can even take it to the food items controller if you like. But here, if you're not, just pass in the second one, right? Food item ID is food item.id. So then this is easy now when you update the star rating. Okay? Obviously it's more complicated than this when you do it. You're like, okay, I want each user to rate a star. It means you have a rating model. But I want to make it really, it will be like this, rating, right? Rating, you find the rating for that. This is the average rating, but let's say in this case, I keep it really simple. A food item, if you rate, it has a star. Then you can use the food item model, right? Food item dot find, right? You have that ID params, food item ID, and then you can just update, no? Update count, stars count as params count. Okay, that's just like one line. Of course, now you will check if, else, and flash redirect. I encourage you just do it, treat it as a learning exercise. Using a plugin will never help you learn anything, but sometimes it's very convenient and nice. So from next week, logging in, logging out, you don't have to do it yourself. But this week, you have to do it yourself. Alright? CSS from next week, some of you stop using Bootstrap, it's okay. Fine, I can recommend you other framework. Some of you keep using Bootstrap, I can keep using it, and I can still make things beautiful. You just don't fight with it. I can use it mainly to divide my columns, like I can do it to use the alert. You see the flash alert, it looks nice enough. Maybe I want to change the primary color so that the blue thing looks disgusting, right? However, because Bootstrap is no longer updating, so Bootstrap Alpha 6, and now it's annoying to use an old version, but it's also annoying to use a new one. So a lot of websites out there, they use Bootstrap 3, and then Bootstrap 4 is very different. So, yeah? Yeah.
Would I have to permit params here or no?
No, if you use it directly. You see, you have to use permit if it's in a hash, like any. So, for example, if you want this to be the whole hash, then it has to be permitted. So, for example, here I can call it star param, for example.
Okay.
But notice, I'm passing the hash directly though. I'm passing star count here. This is a hash. If you write a hash yourself, it's already permitted.
Okay.
You see, you whitelisting the param yourself, right? You're not accidentally, allowing any other key value that user put in.
Just use permit it as object. We need to.
Yeah, it's an object. So today is interesting. We will review the form stuff. We'll learn form tag next to form for. And then from next week, you will use form with. And then, it's kind of like a lot of things. So Lois like looking at me cynically, thinking that, yeah, poor these students. You have to learn like 3 different things. Oh well, right? I mean, it's crazy, right? You have form with now in Rails 5.1. Yeah. But when you have someone who explain you why Rails does it that way, it's actually not that bad. You actually can appreciate it. So I actually read the Rails commit when there's all this argument. Why do we use? We have form for and form tag, and why do we add another thing? The answer is that they want to make it even less confusing by using only one thing. But when you first want to make it less confusing, it's more confusing because they have 3 things. But it's fine. Like the form thing, we have a lot more practice this week. I know, today actually. Yes.
It was about uniqueness. Now, if I set the uniqueness as true, and all the property will be identified. If there is just
True.
the name is different, but the steps and ID, for example, alike.
Wait, sorry. You said uniqueness is true then?
If I have, for example, 20 items,
Uh-huh.
but 5 of them have the same section ID or different name, and that's still not classified.
You want the same section ID but different names. Okay. So it means.
So that is unique or not? It's still unique.
So you say there's an error?
It's just I can see only 5 items, 20 items, because each 5 of them has the same section ID.
I think uniqueness only applies to the one.
The column.
The one column.
Are you trying to have a uniqueness on more than
But
one
I just
column?
have, different 20 items. I'm going to have 20 different food items.
Uh-huh.
I said the uniqueness, it kinds of because of there are 5 of them have the same section ID. Which means
But what do you set the uniqueness for? The name or?
I don't know what the
Okay, Ian, you need to simplify your questions. So let me try to get what you're trying to to say there. You have, let's say, few food items, right? So you don't have to worry about this one very much. You see it everywhere like that. And then here, let's say valid dates, right? Name, presence, true, and then maybe uniqueness is true, right? So what you trying to say? Yeah. Okay. Now, first, you don't want to do this. If you do section ID, then you can only have one food item for section ID 1, one food item for section ID 2. So you can only have one item for breakfast, one item for lunch, one item for dinner. Uniqueness?
I said the name, price, and section ID 2.
Okay, let's look at this one. If you write this, you all have written this before, that validates uniqueness. You write this, it means the same thing as writing this guy 3 times. Okay? And section ID and price. Now, because Ruby is such an expressive language, it's so flexible, sometimes it can be surprising, right? How convenient it is. So earlier, you put the 3 things there. It's the same as writing this. But if you write this, it's very clear. This does not make sense. This does not make sense. So use more than one validate when it's not clear. Does it make sense to you? So, does this line make sense?
But the validate is check if I need the price there. So I need to.
Why are you checking price?
The price not there. I need to.
So you want price, not uniqueness. You want the presence.
So that's what I need to.
Then use more than one line. So use whenever when you write code and it in one line it starts to feel confusing, please separate them. Right? More, in this case, clearer, more code that is clear is better than less code, and even the person who writes it doesn't understand. So if I say price, I have presence true. Name, I have uniqueness and present maybe. Right? Section ID, yeah, presence, not uniqueness. If you say uniqueness section ID, it means you can only have one breakfast item. For example, if you have fur ball for breakfast, you cannot have fur gap for breakfast. That's 2 items with 2 same section ID. Okay?
So what has just a section that has a new programs in UIO? Is there any way that I can stop the scrolling at the same rate but not come reset to the top?
Sure. I think what you're trying to say is, okay, your question now is getting to too many topics now. So when you have the link, and if it looks like this, one way is that if you click on it, it will also skip to the top. That's if it doesn't leave the page. If you have a link that is, let's say, go to, let's say, root path, but when you load to a new page, and it always starts from the top. If you want it to scroll down, you have to use JavaScript. And you can also make it go to root path plus if you go to some anchor text. So for example, menu, then this will find an element called menu ID, an element ID menu, and then it jump down to that in the page. But this is the extra bit. This is the nice thing you want to add to your app, right? Yeah, so Ian, you have so many questions, and next time please have those questions more on Slack. So this is good, but these are also nice extra to have. Okay, we will review the homework, and if you once again, because I really want to review the homework first, get out of the way, and this week build up. So right now, if you want to work on your homework, you can do that. If not, I will pick one homework and I will review it. And then like during the day, I will find some folks and I'll review individually as well. Is that okay? All right. So once again, sort of we pick your homework and do it, but please help each other out. And I think this lab, when the lab is not working on homework, let's try to do pair programming to explain things together. And if you want more practice, you can do it by yourself. But if you just, I guarantee that if you talk through one person code, one person, drive, but both have to talk, switch between milestone, resolving Git issues, you actually learn more. So, yeah.
Question here, I always need to create a Postgres database before anything.
Yes. If you don't, it will be a SQLite database, the Rails default. Huh?
I accidentally make it and then.
Oh, it's quite easy. Just copy the database YAML file. It's quite easy. You don't have to do it again. You can create another project and copy the database YAML file over, and update the table name if you need. If you create another Rails new with the same name, you can copy the database YAML file over. Yeah, and in gem file you need to add gem PG. It's easy, but that again you can ask. If you stuck on, of course, if you figure it out less than half an hour, then you don't have to ask. Now, if you use the reason why we use PostgreSQL, does anyone remember?
This is using production.
Yeah. So then you only need to understand PostgreSQL for anything that's SQL related. MySQL, SQLite 3, PostgreSQL, Microsoft Server SQL, all of them are SQL, but if you go into the console, the SQL console, the syntax are all different. Rails help us with one syntax, the active record syntax. But at some point, you will have to understand the SQL stuff generated. So let's start there. All right, yeah? Are we good? Sound good now? Okay. So look into that. Now let's recap on the homework. I just highlight some pretty cool homework, and then we'll revisit. I also want to emphasize, I think last week again, that we really did. It felt like a week that we sort of moved together. Right? The first couple of weeks, because of the catching up to do and splitting the class into different ways, we're going to move faster together. So I'm pretty excited about this week. So I have two pretty complete homework. I want to just clone and review together in class so we can actually get going. So this is one that is.
Really stressful. Was that your comment too? Really stressful?
But it's with a smiley face. Really straight. I think you mean really fun, right? Because it's a smiley face. So this one it has a lot of features implemented. Same with it's weird. Huh? I don't know why the symbols here are a bit funny. I think it's Windows, and here I need to update this platform to handle the GIF better. Handle Cloud Link. Yep. So I'll choose one, and before I choose it though, I'd just like to show the class these two submissions. They're both great. And you have the GIF as well, right? This one is a bit unfortunate, but they just delete the GIF after a while. So we have a few cool submissions. Why is it ROU? Is it a typo? This one? Row. Row in Chinese means meat. It's quite in Mandarin. So this is Oscar's submission. I thought this 3-state order is incredibly sexy. So that's really cool. Did you use Font Awesome or?
UI is semantic UI.
See, Semantic UI has the icons as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like with Strap, and it's quite big too. But it's good, it works well. Now, so this application, you can see it implements, right, the features we need: deleting item, updating order, just from reviewing to entering order info. How do you do the 3 taps?
Honestly, they're just static because they're on the 3 separate pages.
Sure.
So I just, they're static images of.
Static images, right? That's correct. So some people do the form in all one page and just hide some part. Some people just, in this case, the form is quite clear that this page just display the items. So you click on it. This next page, just display the form, right? And this next page, the next page is a success page. So that's the thanks page. Okay. So thanks, you added an extra. Okay, I will get there. The extra action.
Yeah.
Thanks. Do we have any question about this UI or like this app? Do we all understand sort of that it's the features that we're familiar with? Viewing a cart, viewing an order. Interesting, you do /orders instead of /order.new /new. And checking out. And the home page, filtering here, different tabs here. This is just CSS, right? Any question? Remember this one, so we can, we can actually go and for example, we can choose this code to review. Did you use form to currency or helper for
Number
VND?
currency.
Yeah, number to currency.
With unit VND.
Cool. All right. So I think this is another good one. Oh my god. I need to update the platform. It works with YouTube, but then when we put GIF at the end, it doesn't work. So it's okay if you upload to YouTube instead. Right. Cloud app does the GIF recording quite well and saves the storage. But this is really awesome. There's support for cuisine and all this other sorting and searching. So, who volunteer your code to be reviewed in class? All right, let's choose Fu's code. All right, so let me try to get this URL. All right, this one. Whoops, let's see. Git clone. So normally I could name it, for example, Fu homework 4. You can, after git clone, you can choose a different project name. Sometimes it could be dangerous because you kind of forget what the app name is. So what's the app name? That's okay. I'll just Rails DB bundle install. I may or may not need to run it, but we'll see. Bundle install and then Rails DB create, DB migrate. Do you have seed, Fu? Okay. I'm showing us this so that we also know how we can take a look at an existing code base, okay? So when you run this, it complains a few things already exist. That's natural because this project was forked, right? It means the database file, YAML file is similar to my project. So I'm gonna just drop it first, and then I create.
I have a question. For example, I want to load 20 images, and next time I want to see something else, I need to comment out the image. because the next time we load the next 20 images to it, if I want to add something in the seed page.
Your question is about a seed, and then you say load 20 images. Are you saying if you run seeding again, you don't want to load those 20 images? Yeah, just do if else. Yeah, if else. We have that in the past week. So look at the seed in the lab, you will see it. So, okay guys, so even though it's someone else's code, but we all learn just as much, so let's just look into this. For example here, Ian, your question, right? For example, if you don't want to create any more section when you run seed, it will skip this part. Yeah? Same with images. You can check if there are already images and you can skip it. Okay? Now let's take a look at this code. We all are more familiar with Rails now. When I open an app, I tend to go and look at the routes. If I see that, oh my god, there are so many routes, I can come back later. In this case, I'm like, okay, looks good. He has, you know, some of the resources routes here. And so there's some spaces here. I get rid of them. It's kind of nice. Maybe you can group a few things together. That's like this route like that. You group like this, right? Looks clearer. So root, go to home index, contact us menu. Oh, this is very clean. Great job there, right? Then I look at the schema. So schema helped me see how many tables are there. Now note that Rails put the plural format, cards, food items. In the future, you'll learn why and how Rails know how to convert a word into a plural format. If you create a person model, it will become a pupil table. But if a user become users, card become cards. Okay? What is this culture? Is it a counter? Name. Yeah, that's probably. So I will be like, I take note. Okay, maybe I can give some feedback. Maybe is it counter? I try to understand, but I take note and I keep going. I see. Okay, this. I have 3-4 columns. Okay, these tables, they all look what I expect. Nothing wrong, nothing bad there, right? It looks good. So.
Is it counter or voucher?
Oh, coupon. I see. Very nice. Okay, so you want to store a coupon. If you support coupon, we'll go back to this. Where should coupon be? Probably you don't even need to store it. If params coupon equal coder school, then you may have a coupon model even. You may have a coupon model class and you can support many coupons. Okay, good. So for things you don't need, definitely you feel free to just delete. Okay. Where else should we look at? If I'm not just looking into the code, the browser first. Where else should I? What do you want to see? After this schema and routes. I'll take a look at the model. Now, normally there's nothing in the parent model here, but then you take a look at a model. I want to take a look at the coding style, and I want to, even these little things, remove these spaces, yeah? Configure your text editor. So remove this dot here. These are the places that extra spaces is unnecessary. So I just remove them. I set a shortcut, and then I don't want that to show up. Let's see. So then I take a look at this guy. Okay, very good. Depend and destroy is very useful to have, right? To maintain the integrity of your app. Later on, when you write an app in production, sometimes you don't want depend and destroy. You don't want to accidentally create, delete something. But most of the time, trust me, it will be safer. It will be just better if you add that. dependent destroy. Normally, all this extra thing belongs to validates. All this red color word, they're all in the first block here. The second, you want to have one blank line, and then the rest is your instance method.
I was actually thinking about dependent destroy here.
Uh-huh.
In this case, it's not that. I was thinking it's actually not that good here. In our case, it doesn't matter because we don't delete the card. We just set
Actually,
the middle, right?
Good point.
But if we deleted it, then our order would also
Right.
be line items.
Very good point. So in fact, this is a very rare case. Thanks, Oscar, for pointing it out. The card is the temporary thing, right? I add to card, and after that you can empty the card, clear the card away. For our schema, there's nothing in the cards really. It's just an ID that we look at. See that one? So this card, it's just like something to hold in the session. So definitely when you want to create, if I have 1 million users, I may go to the Rails console and say card.destroy all. Or every day I just delete all the cards from 30 days ago. I only keep the card from this week or this month. Does that make sense? So if this is one of the cases where actually it's very dangerous, so don't put dependent destroy here, right?
The line item is also temporary.
Huh?
The line item is temporary or not?
No, because we connected it to orders. So even after the card is gone, the order still has the line items. And
Sorry, right. No, you guys notice. Huh?
Both of it are temporary.
What's temporary? You asking cart and
Line item.
okay. Now we also need to understand what is line item, right? Line item. Remember the. Do we have the PDF ERD there? Rails ERD. This one, right? The line item connects the food item with the cart. So you add a food item to a cart, line item exists. If it only exists for that purpose, then when you delete a cart, you can delete a line item, no problem. However, when you have line item to connect with order, you also use this. So it means there's an order ID column here, there's a cart ID column here. If you delete a cart, if you tell the cart to delete all line items, actually Rails will not allow you to do it. It'll say, why are you deleting line item? Actually, it doesn't prevent you from doing that. But it's dangerous because when you call me next month, hey, I had an order here, my name, address, and phone number here, and I paid, right? Can you check, right? You gave me the wrong food. And the only way for me to check is to look into this guy. So if you delete my card and you delete this with you, that is bad. You can feel free to delete the card, but the order should stay. Does that make sense? Line item, let me look at line item here for you. Alright, you see this card ID and order ID. Because of this order ID, you don't want, when you delete a card, you don't want to delete the line items yet because they are still in connecting order to food. So beside destroy, this is the advanced stuff. You can just forget about it. Then there's still some card ID, something like in line item table. Line items. You may have this card ID column that is like 27 and it points to some card that doesn't exist. So Rails does have a few more ways. So nullify, for example. Then this will become null when you delete a card. It could be nice. Then you never have a problem when you look into a line item and you say, what card was it in? And oh, card 27. Let's find the card. Not there. So there's a way to say, hey, you delete a card, just remove the card ID value. This is the advanced bit. So if you don't understand this one, don't worry about it. Just understand that don't destroy. Okay? Alright. So thanks, Oscar, for pointing that out. Now, I want everyone to pay attention to code convention, keep things clean. So this looks good, no all these extra random spaces. And by now, this is what you're comfortable with, right? And as I'm doing code reviews, I hope everyone learn a little bit from how we improve things. So I take a look and I see that I have line item dot food item dot price. I have line item dot quantity, something that line item should know between this and this. Fu, I don't know why you have these parentheses, but I can say, hey, remove it. I think what you wanted to do was to move this parenthesis there, right? Then that's clearer, right? Even though the star is more important than the plus. Alright, so we move. So this is optional. You can delete them, or you can put them back. Okay, so, but here's the suggestion. So this is good. You keep belongs to in one block, and again remove all these extra spaces. Then validate here another block. That's cool. And then now here's the cool one. You can say total price for one line item, because you could add 5 pizzas as one line. So how do you calculate the total price? No. Total price is a method. So up here, then you can just do line item dot total price. Look at that, and look at this. Can someone help me implement the total price method? Ian, would you like to try? I want this total price. It's cleaner, right? What is total price? It's the price times the quantity. Fu, would you like to implement this total price for me? You are in a line item already. So you can say food item or self.food item, but there's no need to put self. So I mean my food item dot price multiplied by quantity. You are in line item, guys. So you can already see the code is a lot cleaner. And now you can go to Rails console and you take any line item and you can get the total price to check. So the logic is clear here. And the responsibility of the amount method in cart is now a lot simpler. It's just that, right? Okay? And when you're more proficient with Ruby, you can write this in one line. But for now, don't worry about it. In fact, you probably can write it. You know that, you can just say take the map total price, map them all to a list and number, and then take sum. Select. But there's no total price in the table, so you cannot select it. Okay? You can select total price using SQL function. At this stage, you do not have to do any select. When you get food.price here, food item.price here, it's a select query already. It does it in the background. Does that make sense? Okay, so and does this make sense to some of you? This is the bonus bit. It's quite nice to think of it in a functional way. You get total price into a list and then you take the sum. As simple as that. But don't worry about it. Do this way. It's clear to everyone. Right? Now notice this amount is a local variable in here. So don't confuse that with this amount outside. Okay, this one has a precedence. This is priority. Inside here, amount is the same thing here. So sometimes some people don't like naming it the same thing. So you can, change it to like that, if you like, or you change it back to result. Right? Okay. So for example, I refactor. I think my cart looks pretty good. All right, let's look at the other guys. Food items. All right, this one almost pretty good. Just add a space here. Never have more than two lines. Right, keep it really clean. Any other things in here? Sure, if you like, this is optional. Some of you separate these blocks. Some feel like you add them together. Yeah.
Hey, do you name them softly? Like you do it in it. Can we do that?
Come again?
Softly.
Soft. What is soft delete?
Softly is like it has to do with database too. So like if you delete a, I guess it's kind of the same thing. Like if you delete, example, a footer has many line items, right? So if we delete a line item, the order it can still be deleted. The order doesn't fail. You can still see the order that has that line item. You know, sometimes they're wrong.
Are you sure? You talking about a real life application or what?
Yeah.
No, just if you delete a line item, then it's gone.
No, but I know there's something called like soft delete. Where like
Soft delete means you mark it as deleted.
you don't actually remove the data.
No, or you move it to another table and you can use it. So that's more advanced. Definitely not a feature I want to be see implemented because at this stage, because it just makes things way more complicated. Okay, soft delete means you delete it, but you just put it somewhere else. Put it in the trash, or you mark this as deleted, and when you load them, you don't load the ones that are marked deleted. Okay? So, we finished these guys, right? Oh, order, same thing. So here's another interesting thing. Do you guys see that in cart and in order, you guys have the same method, right? Come speak louder, please. No. Well, it's a try, but application controller has nothing to do with this model. Okay. So we will learn, but in general, don't worry about reusing this method too much. So in this case, do you just make sure the logic is clear? For example, your method up here is better than down here. You see that you keep the logic clean for both places, right? And at the later stage, you learn how to refactor. So both of these guys, you only have to write the code once. But this is such a small case that don't complicate it too much. Okay. The way to do it is that you can use another module, and then you can include that. Module is like a class, but a module can be added to other classes, like this guy. Is there some music going on somewhere? Do you guys see it here? Oh my god, I have music going on the whole time. Oh, this guy. Why is it? Wow.
After Fu's video.
Oh, after Fu's video. Oh, great. So we've been paying for the unnecessary internet. Right, so I'm done with model. If I review, I care that you guys take the time to put in the right validation, but don't put in the wrong validation. Right? I'll take a look and make sure that it makes sense. And as you can see, if we follow the lecture and the lab, try to follow the as much as possible, but understand that. And then after that, after you understand it, you can make it more interesting. Right? So where else would you like to see someone else's code? Maybe the most complicated bit. All right, let's try a controller. And there's a lot of stuff here. I'll just take a look one by one, and I'll review it. Right? So, would someone like to help me review the add method? Oscar, you want to give it a try?
Okay, the spacing.
Alright, so spacing here definitely in Ruby no tab, yeah? So this is no tab, so it's good. So spacing here, go back in there. Anything else? And again, that all the white space, trim them. Anything else? I will look at the routes and see, okay, he's doing a, this is okay, this is, post, cards ad, all right. And this line, right, it doesn't do anything. So it doesn't print, it doesn't do anything. If you write this, it will crash your program, but if you write this, it just run it and then forget, so no need, right? And Rails already print the params for you, so don't put it there. You don't need this anymore because Rails print it in the log for you. Remember that?
Then line item in the flash error.
Where is that? Okay. Cannot add.
Well, I don't think it's gonna print line item, right? I'm guessing who wants to print the actual item.
This.
And now it's just a string.
So right now we have line item params, which is good. The permit food item and quantity. And then here, if it doesn't save, you're saying cannot add. Oh, so are you trying to display the name?
I think so.
So you can do that. In this case, I don't understand the exclamation mark, but could make it cannot add, and you can show the error. Okay. So in this line item, you can say dot food item dot name. Right. Now you can make it clearer if you just say .name and define the name method yourself. You feeling okay about that? You don't know what problem it is yet, so there's, you can just say cannot add line item. Is that okay? If you want to display the error, remember guys, we can, if it cannot save, there's an error here, and then memorize this, errors for message to sentence. That's the laziest way you can be in displaying error. All right, cool. So again, in line item is added, it's okay, but you can say added, right? Line item. Now you see why we want to have the name method. It's so long to type this every time. So Luis, would you like to help me make this name method possible? Line item.name cannot add line item.name and then add the line item.name to cart. To do that, I have to go to line item and define it. Oh, it's here already. So you're lucky, right? Don't have to write that. Okay, so you see that we have line item there, so why not use it? Okay? So that's the cleanup version. It looks similar. In this case, get cart and add to the cart. Looks good. I think it looks... actually, it's a bit interesting. You see that .build, it create a new line item when you're saving the cart. So it's a bit of a Rails magic. When you save the cart, it will save all the children. Line items are the children. So it works, but it's a bit strange. So in this case, if you save this line item, I may not have the errors here really. So you could just say line item.save. Huh? You can either call line item.new or you call cart.lineitems.build. You cannot call new here. You cannot call new here. That's the difference. So if you're new, then you have to say cart ID is cart.id, or you can say cart is cart. All right? Do we understand this line and this line are the same? Yeah? Now, the extra params in here, then you can just put those, not params, but any hash, right? This will be line item hash. Right? Do you understand this hash? So here, for example, quantity is 1. This line 5 and 6, they are the same. 6 and 7. So you just choose one. Yeah.
So the logic earlier, I didn't quite... The reason why it worked when we had unless cart.save was because when we call lineitems.build, it saves line items and Rails also saves the parent.
When you call .build, cart.line items now have one extra item, line item.
Yeah.
But one of them is a new item.
Okay.
So when you save the cart, it will try to save each one as well. When you save a cart, it would do this. But one of them is new, so it will save and create it.
But when I do cart.lineitems.build, it creates a new line item, and does it save the cart or does it save the line item?
It doesn't save anything. That's why it's called build. If you want create, then you call create.
But then when we had unless cart.save, we didn't really call save anywhere, did we?
If you say unless cart.save, then you call save, and then you check if it's true or false.
Aha, that's unless means do this, and then check
No.
if it's...
Unless we'll just look at this value, so Ruby has to go in and save first.
Okay, that's... Okay.
If you call anything, for example, if 1 plus 2 greater than 3, the only way for this statement to work is you have to go and evaluate this. You go and say 1 plus 2 is 3, is 3 greater than 3?
If the line item is new or not, still save. It's not check
No, if any of this failed, you cannot save the cart.
even the new one,
Yeah. It fails. Imagine, just try to use like, oh, what would it make sense or not?
Just to confirm. Sorry.
No worries.
Unless cart.save.
Yeah.
Does that line save the cart?
Absolutely. Just
Okay.
like anything else, you forget about this one first. Ruby has to go and look at each thing. And this is like, you have to look into this guy first. You cannot call unless without actually executing this.
Okay.
Right? And .save, what does it return? True or false?
if
Leave what?
if they are not saved,
It's the same.
Save first.
So it's the same as calling cart.save, and then you call if cart.save, but here it does it twice. It saved twice.
Interesting.
But that makes sense, right?
Yeah, because there's no way for him to check otherwise. He has to run it.
Yeah.
He can't
If you
check
only
like-
want it to save once, if you want the version to save one, then you say value, and then you say if value. This is to prevent it from saving twice. Of course, Rails is smart enough, so it's not gonna save twice. Kui, could you focus on this one first, please? Unless it's to help you ask questions.
No, I get it.
Okay?
Because I was confused because it looked to me like we were never calling cart.save.
Right. So this is just programming logic. If we put anything that is not a final value, it has to run that first. Okay? And because these two lines, it looks like this, and values you only use once, so you use if cart.save. That's why line 10 and 11 is the same as line 13. Does that make sense? And if you want to use unless, it's the same as value.cart.save, and then unless not value, right? Something like that. If you want, well, in this case, he wants this unless value, then he do something, right? Do something here slash if error. So then again, these two lines can just reduce back to 1. That is what he is doing down there. So let's go back to his code. Line items create a new line item in cart.lineitems. When you save a cart, it will go and save each line items. Let's say if you have 4 line items, you build a new one. When you save the first 4 line items, nothing changes. But the new one that you call build on, it will call line item.save inside. If the line item can save, then cart can save. If the line item is a children, element. So it's this child line item doesn't save, then the parent will fail. Okay. If the parent fail, we can't find the error though. It's a bit harder to see the error. So then you can't really use it. So I prefer to use just line item.save here. So then you will have the errors in line items. If you use cart.save, then the error will be in cart.errors. And cart.error will say line item was not saved. It doesn't tell you why. It will just fail and say line item was not saved. But if you say line item.save, right, this may actually fail. And let us say if this return false, then line item.errors, this will return what? Quantity must be greater than 0 or something. Okay? So guys, I'm reviewing homework. So for those who are, if this does not make sense to you, feel free to stop me. And if you find that this is not something you like, you can also focus on your homework during this time in the future. So next Monday, if you prefer to work on your homework during this time, that's okay. I want to take the time to point out clearly, we learn a lot more by analyzing critique code, right? So this action now look quite clean, right? Sometimes I like it to make it clean where this is the place where I define some variables. This is the place I do some logic, and then this is the third part, which is I just render or redirect. So you could, if you want, you can add that extra blank line there. So it looks quite clean. Same thing here, I have a cart. So in this case, he's adding a debug statement. After you finish, no, it's fine. After you finish, you don't need it anymore. Definitely, feel free to just delete it, or in general, just delete after you're done. This is good. So you don't need to store it to a cart, right? This is quite nice actually, very good. What Fu is doing is a person apply a coupon, and he save it to the cart so that it always stay there. So it means the final order, it remembers that the visitor already applied a coupon, a voucher, and the final result will be different. I really like this. This is awesome. So after looking at it, I think this makes sense. You put the voucher in the cart. So when you go into taking the final price, for example, here, you see this is the total amount. Sometimes you may want to name it like total amount. That's better. But imagine you can have something like a discounted amount. What is your discount? Your amount after discount, right? Final amount or something. And then you say if, right? Voucher. It's actually you have some. This is called like coupon, and then here will be voucher. So it's pick one. It's either coupon or a voucher. You just combine two words. It's quite cool actually. But it's either a voucher or a counter or a vouchon. This is pretty awesome. But I think you're writing this code when it's 3 a.m. in the morning, and then your left brain is telling your right brain to be creative. The right brain is telling your left brain to be creative. So if the voucher is Coder School, for example, then you want the final amount to be half of that. Else, amount. So then this one is the public method that you want the view to use, display the cart. And this one is just, private. Don't use this amount, cart.amount. You use this one. Does that make sense? If you display in the view, you go to maybe view a cart, right? Cart show here. I think you have the amount somewhere, the final here. So you see how I'm guessing in the view he's trying to apply the discount. You see that? It's showing the discount. But don't do this here. Why is the view worrying about this? Right? You see minus blah blah. Move this logic into something down here, right? But it's, for example, I discount by 50%. Okay? Then up here I just display final amount. Does that make sense? And this is your voucher. So don't display amount anymore, display final amount. So that's cool, right? We have just learned that in the a lot of spaces here, make sure you remove them. In the cards controller, you can just, you don't even need the, you see the voucher 50%, there's a food supply here, but basically as simple as getting the card, and if you apply the voucher, show somewhere, you can submit the voucher. Maybe you have to build a form, then save it to your cart. So maybe under cart, apply voucher, create an apply voucher form. Yeah. Now, if you don't want to create a voucher form, you can just say cart dot, voucher is parents, this is your Kuchan thing here. Anyway, so keep it that because now your total amount will be the 50% discount. Does that make sense? It's to give an idea of how things flow between a lot of different files. So that's showing the card. Okay, we're almost done. So it's quite nice if you just use the scaffold generator for food items. Just go to localhost/food items and create using the URL. Using the scaffolded view. However, the view looks really ugly, right? You can make it look more like Bootstrap if you like. Go into this view, add the table stuff here, and it will start looking cleaner. You do have to update the form, however. Where's the form? New food item here. Let's say if I look at the form. Yes, one second. So here's the form. The form can be a bit interesting. We will learn later how you have a drop down of different food item section. I'm not sure if in Charles' lecture or in the Raj lecture, you guys see this. This is what? Yeah, food items. In the in my in Week5 videos. So you can update this. So I may have some instruction to update this, so that you can actually select, turn it into a drop down. There are many other types. So there's a select type that you can click on the drop down and see the list of food items to pick. Don't worry, we'll visit that form very soon.
This is the website for user of our restaurant. So is it with some functions like this is some route like you can edit food item, create food item?
Yeah, this is for you. This is like a backdoor, an admin view. You should only make this page available for admin. This page should not be available for user. Okay? So in the future, you can make it like /admin/food items. For now, just understand this page is admin only. That's why it's okay to be ugly if you want. Sometimes you want admin to be even prettier because you want people to love that admin dashboard, the updating interface, right? Okay, so food item scaffold, you can learn a thing or two. It looks more complicated, but you can actually see that, oh, okay. You can, when you try to understand how to create a form, you see that this guy, okay, generated code has some comment, food.item new, food.save, very similar. We haven't learned how to do HTML and JSON in different formats yet, so don't worry about that yet. Food item param, look exactly what we learned, right? So you see this kind of comment. Sometimes by reading the code Rails generates for us, it's quite useful. It's funny too. So what controller that's interesting? I think this create controller could be interesting. So it's based on the lab. We kind of understand. So this is also cool. You save the coupon. So be careful there, right? Rails is not helping you. VS Code is not helping you. You sometimes call it coupon, voucher, kucher, and vuchan. So today, this week, we will learn testing. so that you can actually write some test code that prevent you from making this mistake. But if you use iOS, you have Xcode. If you use Android Studio, you have Android Studio. You have Android Studio. They help you check these column names. If you enter the wrong one, it's bad. If you use Ruby, when you are a more professional Ruby developer, you can either do it my way, write tests, and then I use Vim like this, or you can go the really fully assisted solution, which is RubyMine, that it also try to check things for you. In general, Ruby is so flexible, you cannot have this error unless you run the page that goes into this code. So it can be pretty hard to detect. Your real server will still work even if you have all of this stuff until you create an order. So it's very important to be careful and use git diff to know what changes you make to your code. It helps you become a better programmer that way. So okay, so I think in general, I think we also talk about this order system. I think this is pretty awesome. Finish an order, destroy cart. Yeah, I think it's good, really. I think Fu takes advantage of the lab work and what we discussed and put all the features here. They work quite well. And again, there's a little bit of coding style that keep things quite clean. You could make it clean like that. Okay, in this case, you probably want to destroy the cart before you redirect. It's just clearer that way. Ruby actually still run this code, so that's a bit confusing, but keep it here. And always put redirect as the last line. Are we clear about that? So you will redirect here. If it works, go to the order. You probably want to say thank you. Okay, this is good. This is a thank you message. And then this is the, it's good. He's redirecting to the order path, so there's probably no more items in that order. So it just display like an empty order with received, blah, blah, right? Another problem with maybe our code is sometimes the editor doesn't check our typo. VS Code check. I think there may be some plugin that check the typos to avoid making like some typo, because over time it can be pretty hard to track. So keep a good convention. Capitalize your sentence. Maybe if you decide it's a sentence, add a period. Always add a period there. Flash messages. Make it really clear, right? Try to write good sentences, because our user, right, is going to read these things. So we write pretty code so that we come back to the code next month, next year, we still feel good about it. We write good messages for our users so that when they go and use our website, they also feel good about it. That's why we do success and error. It's different colors. Okay? Yeah, so I think we're done. I'm not going to go too much into the view, but we talk a little bit about, okay, if you have to customize your navbar, we'll do that more this week. Then if you're fighting with Bootstrap, change it to something else. Don't use these classes, right? And this is your Bible, right? All pages have flash messages. Okay. So we'll start working on this week. I'll give all the I aim to review the homework for everyone today, and that helps you have a foundation to enter this next week. Let's take a stretch. Let's take a stretch break, and when we go back, we'll learn the new materials this week before you do the lab.